Hello, Jen here with a layout for the Wild Whisper design team. I am continuing this month to play with their new May release, which is the Forever and Always collection. It's just this really beautiful, delicate, pastel colored, wedding themed collection. And obviously, like I said in my last video, I'm not going to be scrapping any wedding photos, so it's definitely versatile enough that you can get a lot of use out of it, even if you're not scrapping wedding photos and don't have any weddings in your near future. A lot of the sayings are very applicable to family or just, cute pictures of you and your partner. There's lots of ways for you to be able to use this collection. And I just love how delicate the colors are, the soft pastels and the watercolor feel to everything. And that beautiful pop of blue is just fabulous. Of course, I think that's my favorite color in this collection. That or the green. I really, really love green. So that one is a close second. But I'm having so much fun scrapping with this, and I hope that you guys go check it out because don't let the wedding idea or the wedding theme scare you. There's lots and lots of ways that you can use this collection. So I'm starting with my layout actually instead of a picture. I haven't picked a picture yet. I don't even have one in mind. But after seeing the promo photo that was released by Wild Whisper for their new class called Wild Weddings, it's an online class that you can take where Heather basically takes you through the steps of scrapping your wedding. And of course, it was released May 1st, and we're all super excited for them to dive into the online class world. And when I saw the promo photo that they're using for Instagram and Facebook, I was actually really inspired by it. I thought it would make a great layout. So this is what I am using to come up with this design. And I will leave the photo at the end of the video so that you can see how I followed it and get some more information about the class. So basically, the reason I liked it was, again, that same thing that I always go back to, which is that I love having all of the patterns and colors on each layout. I feel like it's really hard to just pick and choose certain ones. And while, I'm quite happy to stick within certain color themes and stuff like that, sometimes you just want to have a little bit of everything. And that's what I think really struck me about the inspiration picture, was just that I could see little bits of every pattern paper and all of the colors from the collection. And so I think this is the perfect way to kind of showcase that. And it also makes the collection a little bit more general. Because you're only getting snippets of each pattern, nothing really pops out and screams wedding at you. So this is a great way to either combine collections when you just have scraps and bits and pieces left, or use up those theme collections in ways that don't specifically go to that theme or make you think of just that theme. And so here I've got my basic sort of bones of the layout done. And now I need to pick the picture. So I've gone into my giant pack of summer photos from our trip. You can see as much as you guys have followed with me and as much as I've scrapped, I still have hundreds left. So I've narrowed it down to these two, and you can see here I've decided on this one. I like the way that my son's green shirt matches the green and my daughter's peach shirt matches the peaches. That other picture also had some green and peach in it, and so that's why I had kind of decided it was going to be between the two. And here, oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, I had a light bulb moment when it came to these scissors. Now, I'm like most people, I don't like the serrated, jagged edge that you get from using these scissors. But I have them and I should be using them, and they're much more comfortable in my hand than my little precision scissors, those little pink ones you see. And so when I'm not doing fussy cutting, I really should be using these scissors or my other Fiskars ones. And so I'm stubborn and I keep pulling them out, but I always get that serrated edge. Let me tell you, these scissors are not meant to have that edge. What I discovered, and what you guys probably already know, and I'm sure that there are people laughing at me going, "Oh, Jen, did you not know that?" There are two blades in these scissors. One is the serrated edge and one is a smooth edge. So in order to get those nice smooth cuts, you need to make sure that the smooth blade is on top. So just flip your scissors over and make sure that that smooth edge is on top, and then you will have smooth cuts. No more little bumpy, jagged, serrated cuts on your paper. The reason that they are serrated is because it does make them a little bit stronger for other materials or for cutting chipboard and stuff like that. If you really needed a little bit of strength, you can flip them and use the serrated blade as the top blade, but it also just makes them self-sharpening. And so every time you cut with them, they sharpen themselves with that serrated edge. But that is not the edge that you are supposed to have on top when you're using these scissors for paper. I mean, unless you like that as a decorative feature, then go for it. But yes, so if you are like me and have been struggling all this time with wanting to use your Tim Holtz, I think, what are they called? Tonic shears or whatever they're called, and you just don't like that edge, flip them over. I know. I had this just moment and now I'm super proud of myself. So if you're laughing at me, don't spoil it for me. I promise I am a really smart person and I'm usually really good at paying attention to details, but somewhere I missed that detail that I've been using my scissors the wrong way. And now I am so excited to be able to use them more. Okay, that was my little tip of the day. Tool tips with Jen, and now back to the layout. So you can see here I've taken some of the pieces from the cut apart sheet and I've picked the blue that had that sketchy heart and I cut out the heart, and now I'm using the blue in part of my little layers. I picked that orange one that had the tag. I really like how the darker gray kind of gives a little bit of a frame to the page and to my picture. And then I cut a bit of that green card as well so that I could have some of the green poking through. And now I just have some fun little layers. They add a little bit of extra weight to my photo. And they just make sure that the photo doesn't get lost in all of those patterns. And also the white, because we're looking out over the ocean. And so my camera actually washes that white out. It's not, the ocean in the picture is more of a blue, but the sort of blue on white, you can lose the picture a little bit. So those layers help to keep that all in focus. And there I just showed you, I decided I wanted to do some stitching across that gray. I felt like it was just really plain and kind of blah, and it needed a little bit of something to make it interesting. And so I pulled out my sewing machine and I totally messed this up. My thread kept snapping. It's not super expensive thread. It's not cheap thread. I got it at Michael's, but for whatever reason, I couldn't get the tension right on this thread and it kept snapping. And I kept kind of going over it and there's holes all over. And so finally I gave up. I pulled all of the thread and my bobbin out of my machine and I just passed my paper through with just the needle on its own so that it could pierce the holes for me. And I hand stitched the rest of that stitching. And I was just showing you on the back that it kept jumbling up. I think it's just a really sort of soft cotton thread. And so it was catching on itself really easily and it was a mess. Anyways, I'm going to have to bring my machine to my friend, I think, and get her to take a look at it. I feel like there's something not quite right with it. Something's not working in it. But anyways, that's a story for another day. Yes, so I hand sewed through those holes. I did it on the bottom as well. It just was a really easy way to pierce the holes and make sure that they were evenly spaced. And it is what it is. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. But I added some extra thread beside the layers on the picture too, because again, I felt like the dark kind of brings the focus into the picture and it frames it. And especially because my shirt and my sunglasses are more dark than anything else on the picture, I feel like it just creates that good balance between light and dark. And then I decided on one of the other cut apart cards as my title. I was debating between this one and the one that had the white writing on a blue card, but I felt like this one just would stand out a little bit more. And it says, you are all, no, what does it say? Yes, you are my today and all of my tomorrows. So I popped up today and I popped up tomorrows to give them a little bit of dimension and sort of emphasize those two words. And I just glued down the other ones. And I really like the way that looks. I think it adds a little bit of sort of quirk to the layout because obviously my sewing isn't perfect and there's mixed media in the background and it's not really perfect either. So that's sort of a third element of imperfection to balance out all the straight lines and the sort of squareness of the layers and the strips of paper. And I don't know, did I explain about those strips of paper? I just cut 1-inch strips from each of the pattern papers along with 2 of the cards. And then I cut those each into 3 each. I cut those all into 3-inch lengths so I could use both sides of the pattern paper, and I just layered them on the top and bottom. I know it's pretty self-explanatory, but in case you were curious about how I did that. And then to add a little bit more whimsy and some other cute little hearts here, I went into my stash and I found some of these wood veneer hearts. Now I'm just using my Tim Holtz Distress Oxides to paint them in matching colors. So this cracked pistachio is a pretty good match to the green. And I think I always get this wrong. Is it Salty Seas or Stormy Skies or whatever that nice deep blue is? It's actually a very good match for the blue in this collection. And then to get that peach color, again, I'm going to mix the Worn Lipstick and the Fossilized Amber. And I'm just painting those on to the wood veneer. And actually the Distress Oxides really sit nicely in the wood veneer. They do soak in a little bit, which is good because it adds to that sort of more pastel feeling to the colors, but it doesn't soak in as much as the other just distress inks. Those ones can really soak in, and sometimes you have to add a few layers. The oxide, whatever the chemical formulation is, it's a lot heavier, so it sits on top of the wood veneer nicely. Now I'm just going to add them in little clusters here. So each little cluster will have all 3 colors. So on the bottom you can see there, and then I'll do another little cluster up here at the top. It's so cute. And then of course I need sequins. So I pulled out the Spiegel Mom Scraps exclusive sequins that are the match for this collection. They're so beautiful and delicate and shiny, and I'm just kind of dotting them here and there, mixed within the layers and the mixed media and that little bit of thread. And basically that's just mimicking the center of the promo spot where Heather has placed a photo, and so this is sort of like that background photo. And that's it. That's my layout for this week. If you have any questions, leave them for me down below, and make sure you check out Wild Weddings and this collection at wildwhisperdesigns.com. I'll leave all the links for you. Until next time, thanks so much, everybody. Happy scrapping. Bye.